Today I'm going to show you how to use a new feature I added to Tapforms Pro version 1.2 called Universal Layouts. Universal Layouts is a new way that you can create custom layouts on macOS and iOS, and you can use them on either platform, editing and displaying. Prior to having Universal Layouts, this was the default layout that you could see on the macOS, and on iOS we would see something very similar that looks like this. Now, let's create a new custom layout on macOS and we'll see how that looks on iOS. The first thing I'm going to do though is I'm going to dismiss the Forms List sidebar just to give us a little bit more room. Next, I'm going to create a new layout by clicking on the New Layout button on macOS. This creates a standard custom layout that has been available on macOS for many years. To change it to a universal layout, we'll click on this little universal globe icon button here. Now we have our universal layout and we can have it build the layout for us just by clicking on Add Default Items. And there we go, we have a new universal layout on macOS. Now let's go over to iOS and see how that looks. You'll notice though that it doesn't actually show up here. The new layout is over here called New Layout, and right now we have just two layouts here, the default layout, which you're used to, and the two-column layout. That's just a little refresh issue. We just have to back out to our forms list and then go back in, and then we'll see New Layout here. Select it, and there we go. We have the same layout now on macOS and on iOS. But maybe on iOS we really want only one column of fields. So let's change it over here to 1. And now we see all of our fields listed one at a time. And on iOS now, after it's synced, you can see that there's now one field, one column worth of fields. But maybe we don't want it to be called New Layout. So on iOS, let's click on the Layout button and we'll click on Layout Settings and we'll rename that to one column. And we'll save that. We can also, if we go back into layout settings, we can also change how many columns that you want your layout to be. Now, anything more than about 2 on an iPhone isn't really recommended, but on iPad OS and on Mac OS, then you can do a much higher number of layout columns. So we'll save that. And now we see over here on macOS, it's now been changed to one column. That's the name of the layout. And we can see here in iOS, it shows our 2-column layout and our 1-column layout. Now maybe what we want to do is we want to group some fields together into kind of a nice presentation here. So let's just do this on iOS. We'll go into Edit Layout mode. And we can see we have some buttons here. This one is for changing font characteristics of the fields. The next one is for adding in static text that you want to appear on every record. And then there's the photo button, which allows you to put photo on every record. And then this one is for adding a button if you have some form scripts that you want to add a button to click on or to tap on to run a script for you. So with universal layouts, the section heading fields actually become kind of important. Section heading fields, such as this general information field, are used to group other fields together into boxes and then be able to drag them around on your layout as a single group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify how many fields of my layout do I want to group underneath this section heading field. So let's just count the fields that we have in this first section. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fields actually. So I'm going to click on here and I'm going to select 7, and what we'll see is a nice border gets applied to that section of your form. And maybe what I might like to do is have it display a nice background color, and maybe even a different color for the stroke. That's the border that's displayed around your fields, and maybe let's make it a little bit thicker and turn on that background. Oops, that background is a little bit loud. Let's go with something a little less loud. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, now if we click over here on macOS, we should see the same change appear. There we go. Now, one thing you're going to notice is now we've got these fields with the same background color as the background of that section. So let's make that change. So I'm going to do that on macOS here, and I'm going to shift click on these different fields, and I'm going to change the background color of the fields. So now what I can do is just click on any one of these fields now that they're all selected, and I can change the fill color. So I've changed the fill color, and now we have nicer looking fields over there. And we can see that change has already been synced over to iOS. And we can do the same thing with all of the other fields if we like as well. Put them in nice grouped sections. So let's just do that here for the purchase information. So we've got 1, 2, actually there's only 2 fields here underneath purchase information, because the next section is storage information for our winery database. So let's group these 2 fields together, and there we go. They're grouped nicely into this little thing. But I always like to have a different border color. Let's choose a red one here, dark red, and I like to add a little bit more stroke. We can make it really thick and look a little weird, but I think probably 2 is good. And now we can see the same thing has been applied over there. And maybe let's give it a nice little background, say a pink background, and that's not too bad. But again, we might want to put a fill color on the field so that we can, oh yeah, let's do it on the date field as well. And there we go. So now we will have, yeah, there we go. Okay. So another thing that you can do is you can add these, like I said, static images and texts and things like that by clicking on these buttons up above here, or on iOS, they're over here. So let me just go grab an image that I have here, and I'm going to put it in this spot here. You'll notice that when I hold my cursor on a certain spot, the line where your item is going to go just starts to wiggle. Now I click there, and then I will select a little banner image that I have, and there we go. So now we have that image, which is going to appear on every one of our records. So if I click on different records, we can see that banner image is the same. I'm going to change the border so that there's no border on it, actually. So, and if I scroll back up to the top there, we can see that image appeared on iOS as well, and it also now no longer has a border. But now let's see what it would look like if we had a 2-column layout. And I have previously created a 2-column layout, and I can click on it here. So here's the 2-column layout. It works well. You can create more columns on your layout if you like. And on iOS, we'll just switch it, and there we go. We have the same layout on iOS. And that's pretty much universal layouts in a nutshell. There are a few things extra, like formatting and aligning fields, changing the font characteristics. Actually, let's try that. Let's say we want our fields here to be a different color instead of just black. So let's widen the screen just a little bit. And I'm going to click on, currently it's set to future medium. And let's give the title field, say a purple color. And then we have a purple color there. We can also apply those things to multiple fields as well. So one thing we can also do is we can go to the layers tab here, and we can select and click on different items, and they'll get selected. So if I wanted to say take all of my text fields, I can select my text fields here, and now I can multi-select all of my text fields. So all of my text fields now are selected, and then I can apply a different font color to them. So I'll pick that purple font, and let me grab a slightly more obvious purple. There we go. So now you can see that all of those items have been changed to purple. And you can see here on iOS that it's working on that it's updating them. Now I did just choose the text fields, so the number fields and the location fields wouldn't necessarily have that. But what we can do on iOS, actually, because they're you can't just sort of like select all and filter by fields on iOS. What I've added here is the ability to apply the same font specifications to all of your items. So I'm going to go in and edit the layout, and then I'll click on one of the fields here and click on this guy here. And actually, let me just try, I'll just change it to American Typewriter, semi-bold for that one. And let's go with, we've got purple, and I'm going to click copy to all. So when I copy to all, it's going to change all of the fonts to that purple, that size, whatever I had selected, and that font style. And then when we go back over to macOS, it should sync, and then it changes all of the fonts for the titles there. Now you can also do the same thing for all of the values as well, separately. So if you bring up the font chooser again, and then if I click on value, let me just choose, I'll go with Optima Regular, and go back up there and click on copy to all. Copy to all. So now we can see Optima Regular is being used for all of the values. Now the font does have to be available on both platforms in order to see these changes. If they're not, then you're just going to get the standard default font. The last thing I'd like to show you is the drag and drop feature of universal layouts. How to add fields, how to remove fields, and to move them around on screen. So with our layout here, if there's something here that you just don't really want on your layout anymore, with an item selected, like this static text object, you can just simply click the little X box here, a button, and it'll disappear. And we'll see on the iOS version, it also disappeared. And maybe what we'd like to do is move these fields around a little. Perhaps we want this whole section to be up above our banner. We can just click on this guy up here and drag him up there, let go, and all of the fields that were grouped together within that section box will move together. And we can see that's done on iOS as well. But if there's fields inside that you wanted to, say, be displayed across the whole width, like in this example, this is a 2-column layout, but maybe the wine name, there's not enough room for that, or the winery name in this specific situation, you want a bit more room. What you can do is click on this little guy and change the column span. That means how many columns out of our 2-column layout will that field take up the space for. So we can select up to 2 because this is a 2-column layout. And maybe the winery we also want to span 2 columns. And there we go. They should update on the Mac side once that syncs. And there we go. But perhaps I wanted the region to be in a different location. For example, I wanted it to be up there. I can just simply drag and drop it, and now it's moved over to there. Let's actually make that a 2-column span as well. There we go. And now we look over here and we should see the region should move up there, and it did. So that's how you can drag and drop things around on Mac and on iOS. Now, if you deleted, let's say I deleted this photo field, and so now the photo field is gone, and it's no longer... Okay, so the photo field is gone, and I would like to maybe put it back, because I really didn't want to delete it. So what I can do here is I can click on Fields, and I can just drag it back. So I can go to Photo, and I can just drag it back and put it wherever I like. Now, on iOS, what you would do is you would go to Edit Layout, and then in the toolbar, at the navigation bar at the top, there will be this button that says Layout Fields. Clicking on that will let you adjust the positions of all the fields and decide which fields that you want to be on. And we can see the photo field is not on our layout anymore, so we can turn that back on. And now the photo field will reappear on our layout. Click on the check mark and we should see our photo field. There we go. Now it's only taking up 1 column where we had it set to 2 columns before. So we could select it, click on the button here, and have it take up the full width 2 columns like it was before. It should reappear on iOS, and there it is. So that's basically drag and drop. But there is one other thing in drag and drop. If it kind of behaves as you would expect. If I have something within a box like this, if I drag it outside of the box, then it gets completely removed from the box, and now there aren't quite as many fields in that box. And conversely, if you drag something into the box, then the box will be expanded to include all of the to include the extra field as well. So, and we should see that everything looks the same. Yes, it does on iOS as well. And there we have it. That's drag and drop and reorganizing, adding, removing fields, and basically editing the layout on iOS and macOS. I hope you enjoy the new Universal Layouts feature that's available in Tabformers Pro 1.2.